The first fist hit my front door so hard the elk rack above my mantel rattled, and before the echo even died, a man in a dark jacket kicked the door wide. 3 more storming in behind him, red and blue lights strobing through the window from a white SUV parked outside. They were shouting on top of each other. Police. HOA enforcement. Hands where I can see them. Like they couldn't decide if they were playing cops or staging a bad reality show. One shoved a plastic badge right in my face. Another swung up a black rifle that gleamed like it had never seen a muddy day. They flooded my little cabin with noise, tramping mud over the woven rug my late mother made by hand. I lifted my hand slow. Easy, I said, voice steady, because panic is gasoline, and I was raised not to spill it. The so-called leader wore wraparound sunglasses, though the sun was barely up. We have authority from Lakeshore Ridge HOA to conduct a code check and arrest for obstruction. You put up a gate. You blocked the shoreline path. You ignored fines. My gate. It was a wooden crossbar I built to keep coyotes off my chickens and keep strangers from wandering into my tomatoes. The so-called shoreline path was blueberry brambles, a deer trail, and the edge of my deed. Their patches read Community Safety Unit, the stitching crooked, brass nameplates glued on, corners peeling. Real cops don't wear sunglasses inside. Real cops don't announce inspections and arrests at the same time. One of them shoved past me, knocking a mug off the counter. It shattered, coffee and ceramics spreading like brown stars across the floor. My niece is in that room, I said. She's 13. You point a weapon at that door again, and what? The leader sneered, little white scar twisting on his upper lip, breath coming too fast like a man living on caffeine and bad decisions. You'll learn what happens when you cross the HOA. Get on your knees. Zip ties bit my wrists, plastic slicing into skin. He leaned down, breath sharp. Cabin folks think they're special. You are not special. He didn't notice my eyes shift to the heavy lever in the far corner, under the old fishing net, bolted to the wall. I never wanted to use it, but some tools are for the days when words fail. I shuffled toward it, acting small, hooked my finger under the net. He smirked, thought he had me. I pulled the lever. Steel shutters slammed down. The hallway door locked with a thunderclap. Darkness dropped like a curtain. My niece's gasp cut through it, sharp. Boots scrambled. Somebody yelled, "What did he do?" Another shoulder hit the wall, a rifle clattered. Chaos whipped the room. I'll freeze you here, right in that blacked-out cabin, because none of this started with a lever. It started with a letter jammed in my mailbox 3 months before. I bought the old yellow cabin at Pineglass Cove because the lake holds quiet the way a good hand holds a crying baby. Evenings, water turns to silver, loons calling like distant flutes. I knew which plank creaked, which window stuck, stacked my own firewood. Waved at neighbors, mowed, shoveled, minded my business. Some Saturdays I cooked extra chili, carried it over to Mr. Walker 2 lots down. Elderly, widowed, loved his westerns, salted everything twice. Then came the first letter, smelling faintly of perfume. Whoever folded it wore a lot of scent. Violation notice. My fence, 3 posts and wire, violated color code 7B. The canoe under my birch tree was stored equipment. The garden gnome by my steps, my niece's favorite, didn't meet decorative standards. $250 fine, 7 days to comply. I went to the office, a building with a duck mural and a receptionist who smiled without showing teeth. You can appeal, she chirped. I did, wrote simply, attached photos. Canoe is used, fence keeps animals out. Gnome makes my niece smile. I'll paint the posts, move the canoe. Denied. Uniformity protects value. I paid the fine, painted the posts, hid the canoe. World kept spinning. Told my niece. Sometimes peace looks like a paintbrush. She rolled her eyes. You're corny, Uncle Ethan, but hugged me a little longer. 2 weeks later, a new letter. Then another. First said the gate at my drive blocked community access to the shoreline path. There's no path, but they didn't care. Second claimed my fire pit smoked past 7 p.m. on Saturday. I stopped burning then, switched to cedar on Fridays. Tried kindness. Wore a clean shirt to the meeting, brought homemade cookies, talked slow. I want to be a good neighbor, I said. No public path on my deed, but happy to talk it through. Marjorie West, president, cream blazer and pearls, smiled like she already decided. Uniformity protects value. Board denied me in 7 lines. Some faces in the room were kind, some bored, a few just wanted the cookies. Bradley, a tall man with a thick mustache, looked at me like a game he'd already won. After, I helped a kid in the lot fix his bike chain. He grinned, looked like summer. People aren't their boards, I thought. But the letters kept coming. And between paper and person, the quiet I'd come for got thinner. Tuesday before the break-in, I saw them. White SUV, community safety unit, magnet, 2 men in cargo pants circling my driveway. They measured mailbox height, driveway width, the distance from cedar to steps. I walked out, hands open. Good morning. Can I help you? We're with HOA police. One said, big boots, nervous smile. There's no such thing, I said, still friendly. Security, maybe. Police means something. We're contracted. Show me the contract, I replied, gentle. Sometimes a wide path lets a man turn around without losing face. We'll be back, he muttered. They drove away. Next morning, it happened. Trucks rolled in. Doors slammed. Zip ties bit. Shutters dropped. In the dark, the men's voices lost their confidence. Sharper now. Angry, because the script didn't go how they practiced. The leader yanked my shirt so hard the buttons popped, pushed his rifle's rail against my collarbone. Last chance. Let's talk outside, I said, like neighbors. I'll show you the deed, the map. I'll make coffee strong. Coffee solves more than you think. He snorted, but his grip eased, just a fraction, because coffee is human, and even fake cops are human. Marjorie's voice cut from the porch, sharp. Do it now. We are within our rights. The leader snapped. Set the breacher. One of his men slapped a small hydraulic cylinder to the shutter. Click, hiss. I felt cold. They were given toys they didn't understand by a board that confused force with courage. I heard a cough from outside. Old, rough. Mr. Walker must have heard the trucks and walked up with his cane. Stop, I called louder. Elderly man on the porch, don't open the door. The leader barked, not listening. 2 men moved toward the mudroom, boots scraping. One tripped and swore. I shifted my wrists against the zip tie. People think plastic is forever, but you find the weak spot, breathe through the sting, you work yourself free. The hydraulic whined. Shutter moaned. Paint dust drifted. Mr. Walker coughed again. Ethan, you okay? He called. Please go home. I shouted. Who's that? Someone demanded. Community member, harmless. But the leader sounded meaner now, as if having a witness made him want to prove something. He yanked the mudroom door open. Mr. Walker stood in his flannel coat, confusion and worry on his face. The leader grabbed him, pulled him inside, came clattering outside. Sit. Don't move. Mr. Walker clutched the bench, eyes wide and wet. Hey, I shouted, calm starting to fray. You don't touch him. I'll touch whoever I want. A single hard knock shook the front door again. Not a boot, just a hammer knock. The room held its breath. Another suit, someone whispered. Black truck, no light bar. Calm knock, patient. The kind that says he's not wondering if he'll be let in. He knows he will be. A tall man stepped in, face shadowed. No badge, no flash, just steady. Let's all take a breath, he said. Who are you? The leader demanded. The man's eyes found mine. Steady, sure. Your next mistake, if you don't choose right. The leader swung his rifle toward him. Right then the cabin smoke alarm, wired to a sensor I never talk about, screamed. Siren blared. Men shouted. I twisted my wrists. Zip tie snapped, hands free. The leader, red with rage, charged the hallway. My niece screamed, muffled. Mr. Walker covered his ears. The imposters panicked. But before the leader could smash the lock, the tall man stepped forward, voice low, weapons down. Now, the leader laughed, unsteady. Who do you think you are? The man pulled out a leather wallet, flipped it open, gold shield glinting. Commander Ryan Keller, State Police. And you just made the biggest mistake of your life. The room froze. Marjorie peered in, pearls flashing. The leader spat. This is HOA territory. We make the rules. No, son. You break the law here, Keller said. The leader lunged, rifle raised. Time slowed. I shot up, grabbed the barrel, twisted. The gun clattered away. Men shouted, confused. Then real police boots thundered in. State Police. Drop your weapons. In seconds, the room was blue uniforms, rifles aimed, the fake cops stiff as deer in headlights. But just as the chaos died, Marjorie screamed from the porch. Don't listen to him. He's one of us. He's lying. She raised a black remote and pressed it. A rumble shook the floor, shutters rattling, engines roaring outside. You think you've won? The leader hissed. You don't know what's coming. The ground shook. Grace screamed. Mr. Walker clutched the bench. The imposters' rifles trembled. Through the shutters, I saw beams of light sweeping the snow. Big engines, not SUVs. Wrong for a quiet lakeshore. Security. Real security, Marjorie smirked. The leader's confidence crawled back. Keller's men tightened formation. Hold position, Keller ordered. Nobody fires unless fired upon. Ethan, get your niece ready. Stay low, cover your ears. Don't move until I say our phrase. Apple pie tastes better warm, Grace whispered. Brave kid. A thunderous boom shook the cabin. Outside, near the lake. Commander, multiple vehicles inbound. Heavy trucks, unmarked, a radio crackled. Set a perimeter, Keller snapped. My heart hammered. This wasn't a code violation. This was war on my woods. Marjorie raged. You thought you could humiliate me? Now see what happens. Authority is kindness, not cruelty, I snapped. She laughed, pressing the remote again. A screech split the night, disorienting, painful. Fake cops didn't flinch. Mr. Walker winced. Grace cried out. Even young officers shifted, teeth clenched. Turn it off now, Keller ordered. Make me, Marjorie spat. Then the scarred fake cop, doubt in his eyes, turned on Marjorie. This wasn't part of the deal. You're just a tool, I whispered to him. The second you're not useful, she'll throw you away. Don't listen to him, she screamed, but something cracked in his grip. Another blast rocked the cabin. Unmarked trucks boxed us in at the mill. Too many men, too many guns. We hold the line, Keller said. If they breach, you get Walker and the girl out through the cellar. Understand. I nodded, though my guts twisted. The standoff was broken by a slow, deliberate knock at the door. Commander Keller, hand over the cabin, the man, the girl. Maybe we let you live. Shadows, floodlights, masked men, the ring tightening. I pressed my hand to the hallway door. Apple pie tastes better warm, I whispered to Grace. Stay ready. The front door splintered. Dark shapes stormed in, rifles raised, voices booming. State police returned fire. I shielded Grace, crawling for the cellar. The fight raged. Bullets in the walls, smoke, shouting. The traitor cops suddenly turned, firing at the intruder, threatening Mr. Walker, saving us, not them. I didn't sign up for this, he told me, chest heaving. We were just scaring you, not killing. You just made the first right choice all night, Keller said, as chaos swelled again. We made for the tunnel, Walker, Grace, Miguel, and me, through clay, snow, and roots, slipping past the lines as police created a diversion. We ran through the woods, lights chasing, branches slapping. But a whistle, 3 beats, echoed in the dark, a trap. Headlights washed the old mill. The enemy had herded us where they wanted. The tall, broad man who demanded Grace stepped out. He smiled calm. Hand the girl to me, and your old man and cop live. Refuse, and no one makes it home. Outnumbered, trapped, a traitor cop in state police gear revealed himself. He'd been the enemy's all along. But as the floodlights painted the scene, the real state police, hidden behind the mill, rushed in. Keller's orders cut through the night. The battle was brutal, desperate, and when the dust settled, Grace had fired her first shot to save my life. We carried her and Mr. Walker through gunfire, ditches, into a ranger's shack, smoke, fire, enemies pounding the walls. At the last second, Keller and his men burst in, dragging us to safety as the shack burned. On the snow, Grace in my arms, Walker gasping, Miguel wounded, the tall leader of the attackers burst from the smoke, shotgun aimed at Grace. But it was the scarred man, the ex-fake cop, who put him down. No more, he whispered, the whole world pausing before the chaos resumed. Marjorie fled in an armored SUV. We chased her down the ridge road to Pine Glass Gorge Bridge, the only escape. She tried to blow the bridge, but Keller's men had disabled her remote. Desperate, she drew a pistol. I fired, her gun skittering, blazer blooming red, pearls scattering. But as her SUV idled, another figure slipped out. Her cleaner, a ghost named Sutter, ex-military, waiting to finish what she started. Shots cracked from the ridge, Sutter forcing us into the open, threatening to blow the bridge. You've broken their queen, but you'll leave here dust, he promised over the gorge. The scarred man and I flanked him, moving as one, taking the shot together, ending his game, shattering the last remote in his grip. I returned to Grace, to Walker, to Miguel. Keller's voice was steady. You did good. You held the line. The bridge was battered, the snow churned, but my niece was safe. The board was broken, but not vanished. Not yet. See, the world doesn't hand you happy endings, just chances to stand up. Sometimes for yourself, sometimes for the folks you love, sometimes for a neighbor who needs you. Tonight, we stood our ground. The night was cold, but my cabin will wait for me, scars and all, and I'll teach Grace that kindness wins, even when it has to fight. And if you're still here with me, tell me, was I right to stand my ground, or did I just pour fuel on a fire nobody wins? Drop your take below. What would you have done? Justice or just another feud? I'll be reading every word.